2025 season well underway after 2 wild days of racing here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. We're back here on a Sunday morning to cap it all off with one more event, USF Pro 2000 with race number 2. Hello, race fans. My name's Rob Howden, joined here by Michael Costello on the podium yesterday for Pabst Racing in USF Pro 2000 Race 1. Michael, obviously, let's just start with a huge result. You're a rookie, first time in the car here at St. Petersburg. Just give me your thoughts on that run to third yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great drive. Just kept my nose clean. Biggest thing at St. Petersburg, just let all the carnage happen in front of you. Got some amazing points, and I mean, the car was on fire. I couldn't really ask for a better team to put it underneath me. But, you know, we have race 2 today, so let's go make the most of that.
We kind of throw you in the deep end, of course, here, right, when you get here. You guys were the first guys on the racetrack in a dirty track on Friday. You go right out of practice into qualifying, right into the race. How much different have you learned? How much have you learned, you think, over those 3 sessions now?
You know, it's just about coming back, doing data, just learning like any other weekend. It's all about adaptivity as well. You know, you got to make sure you could adapt to a track within one session because, I mean, like you said, we only have one session straight into quali, so you have to be on your A game. As the weekend goes on, obviously we'll get faster and everything like that because we have more time to go over things, more time for just everything. But, I mean, that's just the biggest thing. You got to come out here and just be fast right from the get-go.
Obviously, an early morning race. You're trying to kind of wipe away the sleep, right? Get yourself back into race shape. Remember, yesterday afternoon, IndyCar qualifying, more IndyCar rubber going down. How do you guys approach that? Does it change the track a lot?
I mean, yeah, it's a massive amount of rubber going down, especially for us. It really just makes it to be one line throughout the whole race, you know. It just makes passing get a little bit more sketchy because there's more dust going to the other side and everything like that. So it's just really about finding grip on the outlap like you would with any other session, and it's just kind of building through that within the whole race because it's a street track. You know, a race is still technically a practice session. You have to keep experimenting, keep finding grip, and when you do, in each corner, bam, that's when you can go and set fastest lap. So it's just about being alert, adapting to the way the IndyCar rubber is going down. You know, the car could do this. What else can I do to help it? You know, if it's understeering or something, maybe I can use my brake in one corner, brake a bit later, trail. It's just things like that you have to think of.
Third place yesterday on the podium, you spray the champagne. Does it change the mindset at all for this morning, or is it business as usual?
I mean, a bit of both, you know, business as usual, but at the same point, we kind of got the weight off our back, already got the podium, so now it's just about bringing it home clean, you know. Top 5 result to put us great in the points to go to NOLA, because at NOLA we have a triple header, so it's just keep it on track, really, because, you know, last year I kind of made a mistake, and that kind of costed me, really, the whole year, so we just have to keep it on track, make sure we get the points we need to go to NOLA.
Every race is a learning experience, as he said. It's always a practice session, but getting that momentum, getting that confidence off at third. Michael Costello looking for another great one here today. We get back after this break, folks. Time to wrap up the weekend. We will be going racing. The St. Petersburg Grand Prix, one of the most exciting street circuits on the USF Pro Championships calendar, takes place along the scenic waterfront of St. Petersburg, Florida. This 1.8-mile, 14-turn layout challenges drivers with a mix of high-speed straights and tight technical corners. The race kicks off with a fast, sweeping run down the main straight before diving into Turn 1, a tight right-hander that requires precise braking. From there, the circuit hugs the downtown streets, with turns 2 through 4 demanding high levels of car control as drivers navigate a narrow sequence of turns with concrete walls on either side. Midway through the track, the drivers face a series of technical corners before tackling the high-speed run down Bayshore Drive into Turn 10, where precision is key. The real test comes in the final sector, a fast run down the backstretch into Turn 11 and 12, then a sharp right into the Turn 14 hairpin before launching back onto the main straight. Challenging and always packed with action, welcome to the streets of St. Petersburg.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah. Road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by, like, a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Over the years, we've chased down a lot of dreams, each one leading to the next.
all the way to our most electrifying dream yet. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. Made to inspire the newest generation of dreamers so they can make their dreams a reality. The all-new, all-electric Prologue from Honda.
A fantastic morning to get things underway here for our last race of the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tire. My name is Rob Haddon. We'll have Todd Lewis, the voice of the event, alongside us here in the booth, and a special driver analyst, Jack Jeffers from Exclusive Autosport. A couple of second-place finishes in USF 2000. Here is rookie season in USF 2000, so we'll have him here with us in the booth to give us some expert analysis on what we see roll out here. Let's have a look at the grid right now as we are about 6 minutes away from the call to fire up these engines. 21 drivers will make the call to the race here right now. The driver, Ariel Elkin for TJ Speed Motorsports, the incident yesterday damaging the tub and actually an injured foot as well. He will not start today, so we'll only have 21 drivers take to the field. It will be Charles Finelli starting at the back there in that Fat Boy Racing number 83 machine. Charles Finelli, 61 years of age. A stark contrast to the other drivers we have here. And then we'll have Carson Etter in the number 92 for Exclusive Autosport starting in 20th. Moving up now to row number 10 on the outside will be Frankie Mossman. We've already adjusted this here. So Frankie Mossman in the number 6 for Jay Howard. Driver development will start in the 20th position, and alongside him it'll be George Garciarcia out of Guadalajara, Mexico in the number 10. Garciarcia has shown good speed throughout the weekend. Tough run in qualifying. He has work to do in the race here, but we'll watch him fight his way forward in the D-Force Racing number 10. Up to row number 9, Logan Adams in the number 21 machine for Comet Racing in Newcastle Motorsports Park. Solid run into the top 10 for Logan yesterday, second year in the series. A single car effort for that number 21 machine, a family run effort, and they have shown well here so far to start off the 2025 season. He'll start alongside the Brazilian Nick Monteiro for D-Force Racing in the number 9, scheduled to roll off in the 17th position. Moving now up into row number 8, we'll see Titus Sherlock. The driver had a really nasty flip over in turn number 14, got into Frankie Mossman and barrel rolled it into the tire barriers on the outside of the corner. Shout out to Turn 3 Motorsports, who was here till midnight last night getting that car put back together. So Titus Sherlock in the number 3 will be back on track starting in the 16th spot. Alongside him, rookie Tanner DeFabis out of Indianapolis, Indiana, Avon, Indiana, actually the hometown for Tanner. A great run for Tanner up into the top 10, fought hard with Monteiro for that position, came out with it. So a really good effort here out of the gate for Tanner DeFabis in the number 4. A shortened season. They don't have the full budget for the entire program, but a very solid start for Tanner in race number 1. Up to row number 7, Tyke Durst in the number 33 for Turn 3 Motorsport. Going to start on the outside. That's a P14 start for the number 33 driver out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Second year in the series. Durst starting 14th alongside Joey Brienza, University of Indiana student from Colorado. Brienza in the number 91 for Exclusive Autosport, starting in that 13th position. Brienza yesterday finishing 11th. He wants to break his way in to the top 10. Row number 6, watch for Jace Denmark to attack from deeper in the field. Driver finished 3rd place in the points last year, 10th yesterday in the race for TJ Speed Motorsports. Denmark in the 26th. His teammate alongside him, Sebastian Manson in the number 28. Contact with he and Jacob Douglas in race number 1. Put him deeper in the field. So Manson going to start 11th in the number 28 and all TJ Speed, row number 6. Row number 5 for VRD Racing. A driver is only going to do a couple of races so far this year. Owen Tangevelu in the number 84 out of France, starting in the 10th position. Alongside him would be the spot for Ariel Elkin, as I said before. Damage to the tub of that TJ Speed Tatis. He will not make the start here today. Elkin, a DNS in race number 2. Moving up to row number 4 now, Matt Clark on the outside finished 4th yesterday for Exclusive Autosport in the number 90. 3rd on the track, a blocking penalty moved him back to 4th. Clark looking to get himself back up to the podium, but it'll be a hard work today, starting back in the 8th position outside of row number 4. Alongside him, the driver started 16th yesterday and worked his way all the way up into a solid run, but that was Max Taylor in the number 88, the VRD driver starting in the 7th position inside row number 4. Moving up to row 3 right now, Cooper Becklin in the number 2 for Turn 3 Motorsports out of Portland, Oregon. Becklin has had some strong runs on the oval, or rather on the street circuits here. Was a really top driver at Toronto last year, turned fast laps of the race. Becklin finishing 8th yesterday. He'll start 6th today, so a much better opportunity to potentially fight his way up into the podium. We talk a lot about drivers having to make different races in terms of maybe recovery races having issues in race 1. Jacob Douglas, the case there, the driver out of New Zealand in the number 19 for Pabst Racing. The contact with his fellow Kiwi, Sebastian Manson, in the race yesterday put him to the tail of the field with an issue with the left front, not able to complete the race. So he'll be looking for that recovery run, potentially to get to the podium in the number 19. He'll start P5. Now up to the front 2 rows, starting on the outside of row number 2, Michael Costello for Pabst Racing. He was the one that moved to the podium 3rd after the penalty for Cox yesterday. Michael Costello in the number 20. Starting in the 4th position, we had him obviously on the pre-show. Very excited to get racing here and get things underway. He'll start alongside Elliot Cox in the number 22. He had an incident late in the race in the turn 9 corner on the final lap of the 22. Turn 3 gets that car back together. Cox ready to roll off from P3. Front row, though, with 21 starters, 2 on the front row. Max Garcia on the outside, last year's USF 2000 champion for Pabst Racing out of Coconut Grove, Florida. Garcia put the pressure on to Tullio, the race winner yesterday, all race long. He'll start second, but once again, the driver who qualified on the pole and then went on to win race number 1, Alessandro de Tullio from Miami, Florida, ADT, running for Turn 3 Motorsports, and they are all ready to get things underway. DeTullio and Garcia on row number 1. Time to fire up the engines here, ladies and gentlemen. Joining us down on pit lane right now, the Director of Marketing for the Anderson Companies, to give the command, Mr. Frank Skreck.
Good morning, and welcome to the 2025 Anderson Interior Contracting's Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. On behalf of the Anderson Companies, including Anderson Interior Contracting and Corporate Woodworking, it is my great pleasure to offer this morning's command for all drivers to please start your engines.
That's what we like, an early morning startup here. 7:56 trackside. Those of you watching from home around the country or around the world, we say good morning to those of you in Australia and New Zealand. Afternoon here overseas as well. It is 64 degrees trackside here right now. Indeed, ready to get things underway for what will be, we expect to be a pretty solid event here. Alessandro de Tullio, as we know, coming out of the gate with such an impressive run. Can he go back-to-back? Drivers up front normally are able to have that speed, but everybody else looking to make those minor changes. Todd, let's bring in you first. Let's have a quick little chat here. We saw some great racing yesterday. You were in the booth all day long through our races, MX5 Cup. You were here for all the Indy Next and Indy car sessions as well. Solid day yesterday, some really good racing.
A lot of really good racing, a lot of exciting racing, including the USF Pro 2000 Series. A little more drama in this Pro 2000 Series than I think most teams and drivers were looking for in race number 1 of the season. But again, as the USF 2000 drivers learned, I think, okay, I have one under my belt now. Let's settle down a little bit and understand that it is a long way to get through a race today.
Yeah, let's come to Jack Jeffers right now. Jack, you guys had a little bit of issues in race number 1, but clean and green all the way to the checker. No caution flags in race number 2. Tell me a little bit about this racetrack. When you're out here right now, early in the morning, how did you feel on the track yesterday? What was the track like?
First session on the track, you have to fill it out. Sun's rising, so that plays a key, sun key in your eyes and braking zones, and that plays a huge part in it. It's also first session of the day, no time to warm up. You just got to get straight to it. You got to prep yourself. You got to mentally be ready and be mentally, in the game already.
That's a really good point, because obviously IndyCar is going to come on here for a short little 25-minute warm-up. Yeah, it's good for the teams to feel the car up, but for the drivers, you can get yourself kind of into the groove before you go racing in the afternoon. We don't give you guys that. It's like, hey, good morning, welcome, here's your coffee. Go to work. What's it like jumping in the car so early in the morning?
If you do it for a few years, you're better at it. But you just have to get in the car and you have to mentally tell yourself, all right, let's go.
Exactly.
It's time to go.
It's all a mental game, folks. A big part of what these drivers learn in the USF Pro Championships. And again, it's about the racecraft, of course, getting behind the wheel, the marketing side, social media. But the mental game, having that strong mental fortitude is so crucial, and especially getting, as Jack said, getting yourself in the right place mentally for an early morning race. You remember, it's not even just 8 o'clock here right now. All the drivers, as we know, number of them, the crew members up super late last night. So indeed, Get yourself in the right spot. It's time to go racing, because if you're tired, it doesn't matter. You got to get yourself fired up. We saw a lot of the drivers hopping and jumping, doing some skipping some rope, getting themselves fired up over in the paddock. It is time to go racing here right now, though. We'll start off a long day of action here this year's Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Field set looking good, and away we go. Green, 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 and we're underway. It's a Sunday here in St. Petersburg, Florida. The drivers down to the bottom. Big lock up there. A couple of drivers, but able to hold it through the corner. At least 2 drivers locking up tires. That may play a factor later on in the race as those tires potentially flat spotted. But we're 2 by 2 coming through 2 and 3. That is not easy at all. The Tullio and Garcia get away cleanly. Little move to the inside. Matt Clark trying to get a spot there. You saw that exclusive Corpay machine work its way into the inside of turn number 4. One driver further back having a bit of trouble. Actually, that's Charles Finelli. He's slow through that corner. Finelli will be the last driver through. And indeed, underway through turn number 9. Do we get a clean opening lap? Alessandro Di Tullio with the success from yesterday, the confidence he'll have coming in. He did not have that confidence, I think, for the first race. He and I talked a little bit as Matt Clark makes another move. Clark gets another spot as he works his way forward. So fantastic, Todd, early going here. Matt Clark, the driver on the move.
He is the driver that is ready this morning for the early 8 a.m. start here on the streets of St. Petersburg, picking up a couple of positions right away on the opening lap. Now, we got through lap 1 yesterday, okay, in USF Pro 2000. It was on lap 2 that things started to go awry. A little bit of a lockup as he came through corner 1 here on the opening lap, but so far the field looks pretty strung out and everything okay, although 2 drivers going side by side through one, you don't see that very often.
Being told that one driver, Sebastian Manson, potentially off the racetrack into the runoff, but able to continue on. So, again, we'll give you an update here. Look at these drivers up on the wheel big time here early. Jack, you know the opening couple of laps, right, are crucial. This is the opportunity to make some overtakes. Look at how aggressive this is further back right now.
Yeah, definitely. If you have somebody that's the same speed as you, early on is when it's easiest to make the move. You can keep putting the pressure on and hope that they make a mistake, but in the beginnings when you're going to have your shot to really get the position and track position.
You got to be so mentally on it. Like you said, the mental game is so crucial because, you get to the middle of the race, you kind of settle in a little bit, see who you're around. Just give us a feel. What's it like behind the wheel when you're in these chaotic opening couple of laps? Are you just reacting to what's happening around you?
It's reaction, but, if you get yourself in that mental state where you're ready and you're on the attack, you're kind of in control. You're in control of your race. You're in control of your position, and that's going to give you an edge over people who are still sleeping. And if you only wake up in the middle of the race, then it's too late.
Yeah, make sure the wake-up call is before the middle of the race for sure. And you said it. If you're the driver on the attack, like look at this battle here. Wow, side by side coming through turn number 2 again. Do they come through cleanly? There's a lot of dust there. I wonder if we had some contact coming through there. That may be a yellow. I don't know. Wow. That was tight. Yeah, I think we may have a couple of cars on the wall, Todd, in turn number 2.
Looked like that was Elliot Cox and Michael Costello who were going side by side through corner number 1, and it does not look like everybody came through corner number 2.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the residual smoke from those drivers getting in the wall, and you can see the AMR IndyCar safety team's already working its way over there to turn number 2. We don't have the camera. Those of you watching at home are very likely on a different camera. I've got to dial that in to see if I can't get a better shot of what's happening here. But indeed, crazy contact there. You can see them coming side by side through turn number 2, and that's just not something that's going to work. So I'll grab the fire up YouTube here because we do have a little bit of a different camera angle on our YouTube channel as well. Wow. Listen, we've seen this happen so many times before. You're coming through that corner so side by side. You really want it to happen. Elliot Cox, as Todd said, it was Cox beside Costello coming through the corner. I believe Cox was on essentially the inside, or what would have been the outside of the turn number 2. Cox to the right, Costello to the left. And I'm watching the shot right now. The drivers are walking away from the incident, which is fantastic to see. But Elliot Cox, that is 3 separate incidents for Cox here over this opening weekend. He got into the wall at the very end of qualifying in turn 4. Then he was also made contact yesterday in the final lap in turn number 9. Now finds himself early into the wall in turn number 2. Whether or not Costello is able to continue, we'll see. I believe he potentially fell down the order as well.
Both have fallen to the back of the field. I don't know if either driver is going to be able to continue, but Elliott Cox yesterday in the closing laps was pushing hard to secure that final podium position from Matt Clark. Clark eventually penalized for a blocking move yesterday, but Cox pushed a little too hard, caught the wall, and it all went away. Couldn't get to the finish line, as we've talked about so often. Get to the finish line, secure the best possible finish. It has an impact on your championship, and now 2 DNFs for Elliott Cox in the opening rounds of the season.
Yeah, and Todd, remember yesterday I was literally calling the action. They were, Matt Clark was defended to the inside of 4. Cox was right there. Costello was right in that fight as well, as was Max Taylor. They were all on top of each other coming through. And I kind of made that statement of, guys, this is a pretty crazy last lap. This is the opening round of the series. Just get through to the end. I know you want to battle it out. You've been fighting all race long, but it was coming here through turn number 9 where Elliott Cox, I believe, may have got into the wall on the inside and it shot him to the outside, hard into the concrete wall on the outside of 9. The team put the car back together, and again, that was trying side by side coming through turn number 2. You just can't do that. I remember talking to Jace Denmark. Jack, will bring you in. Jack Jeffers again from Exclusive Autosport joining me here. We had Jace Denmark in here last year, and we saw it happen. There was a contact between, I believe it was Hudson Schwartz and Carson Eder ended up in the wall in USF 2000. And Jay said, I don't know that I want to go side by side through that corner with my teammate, let alone somebody I didn't know. Is it like that? I guess it can be a 2-wide corner, but you've got to trust the guy beside you. It's pretty much a single car corner.
It is definitely a single car corner, and you also you have to know who you're racing. If it's somebody more on the aggressive side and you're on the outside, I'd live to fight another day. But if you're on the inside and you have control of the corner, it is first race of the season, but you also have to be aggressive and you can't back out. So you have to wait.
I get that. You're making your statement, right?
Yeah, sort of making your statement. You don't want everybody thinking that you're just going to back out the whole season.
Yeah, I get that too. That's the balance of, hey, do I back out of this one here because I can't get through, or is this guy like, hey, all I got to do is put my car here and he's going to back out of it. This one, I think both drivers, of course, coming out on the bottom end of this one, which is tough because Costello and Cox now 20th and 21st, both drivers very likely involved here. Tullio with the lead, Garcia second, and look who started all the way back in 8th place and is now 3rd, Matt Clark. He made some passes on the opening couple of circuits, then benefits 2 more. Clark goes up into 3rd. Max Taylor now to 4th. Cooper Becklin 5th. Jacob Douglas runs in 6th. Joey Brienza up from 7th, from 12th to 7th for Brienza. Tangevelu in 8th. Montiero 9th, and now Tyke Durst rounding out the top 10. I just hate to see that happen early in the run, especially for a driver like Elliott Cox trying to put together a full program and to get into the wall like that on 3 different occasions. It's never hurt my bank account because I don't drive myself. But, Jack, you understand, these cars are expensive. When you make mistakes like that and you get into the wall, the crash damage starts to add up.
Yeah, it's not a mistake like in basketball where if you miss the shot, you have another shot at it. It's pricey. It gets real pricey. And it can definitely make your parents' heads hurt a little bit.
That's exactly right.
Twist.
And their checkbooks for sure. Like I always say, it's a win if you've driven the car back to the paddock at the end of every race. There goes Costello's Pabst Racing Machine. So the driver who finishes 3rd yesterday will finish likely down in 21st today. So a DNF for Costello and a DNF for Cox. And Jack, when you're thinking championship, right? Look, so you finished 2nd both days. You were pushing the pressure on Liam McNeely, who had a couple of victories. And I talked to you about this last night. I said, if I would have told you a couple of months ago that you'd come out of St. Petersburg with no crash damage, 2nd place in both races, 2nd in points, with a fast lap and a new race record. You set the new race record lap. So the fastest ever lap in a race for USF 2000, now held by Jack Jeffers. You'd be pretty happy with that because, again, you're in a championship battle. You get a DNF here, all of a sudden you're 20-something points back or more.
Yeah, if you get a DNF here, you're playing catch-up until either they have a bad day or if they never have that bad day, you're playing catch-up the whole season. So it's crucial just to get good points and start off the season solid here.
I think one of the things to think about, too, is, Todd, you have a look at some of the drivers. A guy like Max Garcia, who won the championship last year, completed the most laps of any drivers in USF 2000. You know what I mean? So no DNFs. That's what you need. Literally last year with him being as good as he was, to beat him, you would have had to finish an average of second place. Again, it's usually third or fourth. If you're averaging third or fourth, you're going to find yourself most definitely in a championship battle when we get to Portland. But for a guy like Garcia, finish every lap. He didn't win every race, but he finished every race.
Team owners, team managers, engineers, parents, partners have been saying for years, finish races, and that will help you get to a championship. That's what you're looking for. Winning races is great. You don't have to win every race, but you must finish every race to really have a shot at a championship.
100%, Todd. And we try to drill that into these young drivers as one of the disciplines we hope that they take in and really understand. We are going to go green this next time by, as we said. So an incident here early on between Elliot Cox and Michael Costello in turn number 2. Neither of those drivers willing to give up the corner, and they both find themselves together locked and into the wall in turn number 2. So indeed, back at it right now. A couple of DNFs already. Titus Sherlock down to the tail of the field. Potential issue for Titus. He's the driver, of course, that barrel rolled yesterday in turn number 14. The team working all night to get the car put back together. They were here till midnight. And potentially a technical issue there for him. We'll see whether he's back on track. A quick, immediate move to the inside for Garcia. A good start for Tullio, but Garcia trying to see if he can't hold off Matt Clark. Clark with a good jump on the gearbox. Here they come down. Clark thinking about the outside. No, he'll tuck back in. Same goes for Max Taylor. He's right there. Just get through a couple of spots here. Everybody settling in on the opening circuit. I want to say that potentially a move there for Jace Denmark further back. And here's that run to 4. You can see the drivers. There is a bit of a bump in the middle of the corner or in the middle of the straight. They'll oftentimes go to driver's right, then come back to the left. But indeed, you got to get into the braking zone there of turn number 4. A lot of drivers have had trouble in that bumpy braking zone. We saw a number of pilots and cars into the wall there. A number in USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000. Get through this opening lap cleanly again. Get these Continental tires back up to temperature. Tullio, Garcia, Clark, Taylor, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth now is Cooper Becklin. I talked in the driver intro about how good he was. Hold on here. We may go 2 by 2. I was going to say check back out of that one. 2 by 2, Jack, through the chicane. I don't think so.
Nope. I personally wouldn't choose that this early.
This early. So yeah. So Jeffers may do it late in the race, but not this early. That's again, that's race management, folks, for sure. But yeah, that caught me off guard. But yeah, Cooper Becklin, who did there's contact there. A couple drivers together coming into the braking zone of turn number 1, and that is big damage to the left front of that driver who has gone off the racetrack. That's the 33 of Tyke Durst. Tough one there for Tyke as he was coming into the inside. The driver coming across the bow, heading into the corner. I don't know if that was a potential defense move, but that is going to be left front and both rears very likely for Tyke Durst. Steering wheel already off. You can see the AMR IndyCar safety team there very quickly on site. And, yeah, Tyke's already unbuckled. He's getting out of the car already. Yeah, he's not happy with that at all. Just going into the braking zone. And, again, I don't know if the driver who was in front of him made a little early turn-in defense because it was essentially right rear to left front contact. We're going to have a quick little look at this. Jack, you're the man here, so come on in here. We'll bring Jack Jeffers, our driver analyst, in. We'll hopefully get a couple looks at this, but we'll start with the first one. It's going to be a late look, folks, so pick it up as it comes through. But as I said, it just seemed like the driver in front of him was coming across potentially one of the D-Force cars. That's the end of that one, so we're just seeing the end of it. So the left front contact broke the left front. He's a passenger at that point. Then the right rear ends up hitting the tires coming through into that runoff area. So can't really pick anything up in terms of what happened on the track. We did pick it up very briefly when we had looked at it. Just got deep into the braking zone, Jack. Again, it was kind of right here. You're already kind of starting your turn in. It looks like Tyke may have just got a little bit deep into the braking zone.
He could have gone deep and just misjudged it, or he could have been trying to line up a pass and just mistimed it. You know, it's a small error that cost them big, and that's the brutal part of this sport.
Can you talk a little bit about breaking into that corner? Obviously, we see them. It's such a wide open corner, right? You're way on the outside. It's the widest part. I think it's probably the widest track of any circuit we have. What's the brake like? Are you hard on the brake at the very start, whatever marker it is, and then you're trying to roll off it to get into the corner?
Yeah, you're hard on the brakes initially, and you're braking straight for a little bit, but then you start kind of bending into the corner and releasing the brake. Just the nature of the corner with it being so wide and having so much grip. really rolling a lot of speed into the corner and through the corner.
A little bit of trail braking?
A little bit of trail braking, yes.
Get it to rotate. So, again, that's it. Everybody, of course, right on the edge in terms of braking, getting that maximum PSI on the brake pressure to try to then roll off to preserve that speed coming into the corner. We will be going green this next time by, not surprising, very easily to get that car of Durst out of the way. But tough one for Tyke Durst after a strong run yesterday. He was up into the top 10 as well. I want to say that might have been a battle between he and Nick Montiero, because I think it was a D-Force car. And Montiero already initiating his turn into the corner, and Durst just was right there. So the left front to right rear contact. So we've had a little bit of trouble here again. So unlike the USF 2000 drivers, Todd, who had some trouble in the opening race, came back and were superstars. No, this time we'll have more trouble here for USF Pro 2000. Todd, we'll come back to you in a second. We are green flag racing. Let's see what we have for a restart. We saw Matt Clark get super aggressive. He's not quite there this time, so that's allowed Garcia to stay more out to the outside part of the racetrack. Garcia, look at this move. I think Garcia made a move to the inside. We may have a new leader. We do. Garcia's gone to P1. Wow, what a great start there. Max Garcia makes the dive bomb move to the inside of Tullio. And I think that's Matt Clark in the second. So Matt Clark has gone to P2. Garcia takes the lead. Clark second. Tullio back to third. It happens as easy as that up front. Todd, great action here to start this one.
What a change from the first restart that we had. Max Garcia was all defense from Matt Clark in the first restart, preserving his second-place position. This time he turns it around and does the dive up the inside of Tullio, and he takes over top spot. Matt Clark follows his way through. He's now running second.
Wow, good stuff here. And again, we talk about this. Now, I've used it as one of my keys to the race before here at St. Petersburg, and that's defending on the restart. You have to get, not so much even defending, you can't make that mistake coming out of the final corner, 13 and 14. Jack, how hard is that? I know that you were trying to put the pressure on Liam McNeely. You were there for a couple of the restarts, but it's all about not spinning the tires, getting the best run out of turn 14.
Yeah, it's about lining up the run, not getting any wheel spin, and also trying to anticipate when he's going to go. You know, you got to try to anticipate when he's going to go to give yourself the best chance.
On a restart like that, when you're pretty slow coming out of 14, do you get any aero push at all? Like, are you good enough in terms of front grip to be able to get right on power?
Yeah, you're good enough in terms to just get right on power. Again, it's just watching the wheel spin and also anticipating when he's going to go. Again, this early, if you're asleep, you're gonna be on the back foot.
Again, Jack Jefferson, exclusive Autosport, a couple of second-place finishes on the weekend, puts him P2 in the championship points. Now the new record holder for the fastest in-race lap here in USF 2000 after a fantastic drive yesterday, and they'll go to NOLA Motorsports Park in about 6 weeks' time. Triple header for all three of our series, USF Juniors, USF 2000, and USF Pro 2000, all on a standalone weekend. We'll have the Mustang Challenge there as well. The Skip Barber Formula Race Series will be there. Big wide arc coming out of the corner for Max Garcia. We saw this last year. This is how he was able to get wins. Evagoras Papasavas for Jay Howard Driver Development was the driver who actually was P1, led both of the races last year in USF 2000. But on restarts, Max Garcia was able to come back and take that spot. A little bit of fighting further back there. Good move there. I think that may have been Jace Denmark getting a spot. Denmark potentially getting by Nicholas Montiero. So that'll put Denmark, I think, up into the 9th position. But indeed, Garcia once again taking full advantage of that restart to get by Alessandro Tullio, your race one winner. He's gone back to third as Matt Clark expertly able to leverage that as well, optimizing the opportunity to slide by. So a big one for Matt Clark to go up to P2. He had the first podium, his first podium with the exclusive Autosport, but lost that yesterday with a blocking penalty. Now trying to see if he can't pull away potentially from Tullio. Tullio's still right there. Right behind him as well is Taylor. Then we got Becklin running in the 5th spot, Douglas 6th, Tangevelu in 7th, Brienza 8th, Montiero, I believe that's now Denmark in 9th, to Montiero in 10th. So still past the halfway point here, a number of yellow flags to get things underway, Todd. So far, I feel like we've got some great racing to come. I think Max Taylor may be ready to make a move here on Tullio as well. He was on the gearbox. The driver heads to pit lane. Let's have a look down into turn number 1 to see whether or not we got a pass. I think we're already through there potentially. Yeah, he's through. There he is. Max Taylor, Todd, going to P3.
I was wondering how Alessandro Di Tullio was going to handle being back in the pack. In yesterday's race number 1, he was out front from start to finish, had the clean air, had a few restarts to deal with, but being out front makes such a difference. You can focus just on what's ahead of you. Now he's got to battle traffic that is pushing him from behind, and it's cost him another position.
Jack Jeffers, your thought on that? Pretty nice to be out front with open racetrack, right? Not worried about anybody behind you. That's how good he was yesterday. A little different when you're back in the pack.
Yeah, a little bit different. You have to start working with the aero wash, and, drivers might be driving corners differently, so you have to readjust and line up your runs.
Max Taylor had a good run yesterday, coming from deeper in the field up into the top 10, and now finds himself up to P3 now as he's able to get by to Tullio. So up front, it is Garcia, Clark, and now Taylor. Remember, Max Taylor, last year's USF Juniors champion, finished third in USF 2000, a full campaign in USF Pro 2000 lined up for 2025. And Taylor will also spend some time behind the wheel at HMD Motorsports Indy Next car. A number of race starts for Taylor in Indy Next here in 2025 as well. He'll share the number 18 machine, I believe it is, with Evagoras Papasavas and Nikita Johnson, who's running that car here this weekend. Johnson, a winner last year in USF Pro 2000. Here's one thing to throw out here. Here's a stat, Todd, that's going to keep going. For the last 4 years, Turn 3 Motorsports has won the first race here at St. Petersburg. They've never won the second in those 4 years. So there you go. Josh Green was a victor back in 2022. Christian Brooks won in 2023. Last year, Lockie Hughes. This year, of course, Alessandro Di Tullio, but another team came through and scored the victory. This would be 5 straight years where they win race 1 and potentially don't win race number 2.
It'll be interesting to hear from Max Garcia after the race, if he's able to hold on for the remaining laps and secure the victory, what he learned yesterday following behind Alessandro Di Tullio for the entire race, where he learned there might be an opportunity. Of course, took advantage of that restart into corner number 1, the best passing area on the track, but be interesting to hear what he may have learned that helped him.
Well, he made the move to the inside of the Tullio this time, and indeed I'll ask that question because this time, yesterday he tried the outside move and almost had the outside move done. Tullio just rolled the corner a little farther in and made him kind of check up. They had a little bit of contact. This time, diving to the inside of turn number 1 to take that spot away. Get Jack Jeffers back in here. Listen, obviously Tullio's out there right now running P4. He's already got the championship lead coming in. Good points in the opening race. Is there any time in the race you start thinking about the championship, or does it even creep into your mind? Is it all just, here I am, I'm in the moment, and I'm trying to see if I can't go for a race win?
The more mature drivers, they'll definitely consider the championship in the long run during these races. And I think Di Tullio is, but, there's no reason for him to just, back off and start driving safe. But I think the championship's definitely going through his head, and he's thinking about the long run.
Again, so here we are. Garcia, Clark, Taylor, Di Tullio, Becklin, top 5. Douglas, 6th. Tangevelu, 7th. Brienza, Denmark. And now Tanner DeFabus back up into the top 10 again. What a drive here for Tanner DeFabus. Partial season last year in USF 2000. Won the Freedom 75 on the oval for Jay Howard Driver Development. Did a one-off at Portland. Made a big jump up to USF 2000. And had a solid, just a kind of a working man's event there. Just didn't stay out of trouble. Did his job. Got everything done. Here he is right now, potentially with another top 10. I think he finished either 9th or 10th yesterday. It would be huge for DeFabus if he's able to get another top 10. What a good run for the driver out of Avon, Indiana. There's that battle there. I want to say that is, I think, Becklin, Douglas, and Tangevelu. Yeah, that is 5th, 6th, and 7th, the fight we're seeing right there. There it is there. 5th, 6th, and 7th. Becklin, Douglas, Tangevelu. They are on top of each other right now. This is good stuff for 5th, 6th, and 7th. This is what you want. Hardcore racing. Wherever you are on the racetrack, keep digging, keep getting more speed. One of our drivers actually celebrating a birthday here today as well. We'll give a shout-out to Carson Etter, 21 years of age today. I don't know what you're doing on a Sunday night, but I would want to be with Carson Etter here in St. Petersburg. That's for sure. So, indeed, they'll hopefully celebrate another finish for him. He's able to bring it home yesterday. Going to jump up from USF 2000 to USF Pro 2000 for the Californian this year with Exclusive Autosport. So, he'll continue to find speed throughout the year. And if he's able to roll that car back on the trailer, like I said, at the end of the weekend, exactly what you want to do. Gain the experience you need here at a track like St. Petersburg. Head on to NOLA, which is more wide open. Step things up and go to work. Lap starting to wind down now. Single digits here for Max Garcia to try to come back with another victory. This potentially would put him into the point lead with Tullio being far back. There's a big move to the inside further back as well. That is a good scrap there. That is, I believe, Logan Adams getting a position. Adams, who was running in 11th. I think that may have been he and Mossman or he and Brienza battling it out for the spot there. So Adams trying to fight his way forward a couple of spots. This is near the tail of the field here. You watched drivers coming through there like Garcia Arce, Manson, Eder working their way through. Carson Eder currently running in the 15th position. Drivers out already, as we know. No start for Ariel Elkin. Contact between Elliot Cox and Michael Costello on the opening couple of circuits. Tyke Durst with the incident in turn number 1. Titus Sherlock couple laps back. So they, I think, maybe had some kind of a technical issue after rebuilding that race car. You never know what happens. These are obviously very intricate machines. And all it takes is one wire being loose, and you'll have some issues. They were able to get him back onto the track. So good lap time here for Sherlock. And, Jack, that's key. Yeah, you know what? He's not going to be able to run for a race win. He's a couple laps back. But you came here last year and ran USF 2000 because you wanted the experience here. For a guy like Titus Sherlock, who's never been here, get as many laps as you possibly can.
Yeah, it's all about getting the street circuit experience, especially, you know. And he's just putting in laps. I think there's somebody in the barrier.
Okay, let's pick this up. Yellow flag coming. Jack Jeffers, says, oh, wow, somebody's in the barrier. So somebody's gone off of the back part of the racetrack over in turn number 4 into the braking zone. Looks like right rear damage. So that's, I think, going to be contact as opposed to just nosing it into the tires. That's one of the turn 3 cars. So it's been a tough day for turn 3 so far. Trying to figure out who that is. Sounds like car 44 potentially into the... That might have been Tullio. Car 44 is Tullio. So into turn number 4. Wow, tough one there. So Tullio in the wall. The driver who won yesterday, running 4th on the racetrack, full course yellow with 7 laps remaining. Now, this ain't over yet for Max Garcia, Matt Clark, and Max Taylor, as we're going to have to re-rack them here. So Tullio's day started with the lead, lost that to Garcia, subsequently fell back to 4th. Todd, an issue here going into turn number 4. I saw the right rear damage on the car. I don't know what would have happened there. Being told by race control that it was by himself, no contact, so I don't really know what happened to Tullio.
I was wondering a couple of minutes ago with Tullio, who was out front all day yesterday, lost the lead to Max Garcia on the second restart of this 25-lap race. How would he react to the pressure of being running in the middle of the pack in 3rd, 4th, and 5th? Well, we haven't seen, obviously, what happened out there, but being in the middle of the pack, Jack, is a lot different than running out front with clean air and nothing to focus on except your turn-in points. You have to battle cars that are around you everywhere.
Yeah, you have to back up the corner a little bit. You know, if there's a car directly in front of you, you can't brake at your normal braking marker. You have to anticipate. You have to back up the corner a little bit, deal with the aero wash, especially in these cars. You know, they're more aero than what we have. And I was feeling aero wash behind Liam yesterday.
Jack, yeah, you're right behind Liam putting all the pressure. What corners do you feel the most aero wash? As you said, USF 2000, a certain level of downforce. We up that, of course, with the dual plane wings for USF Pro 2000. Which are the areas that you feel the most aero wash?
Turn 1, turn 10, and the last corner especially, which, you know, it's the toughest because it leads onto a long straight into turn 1, which is the best passing opportunity, but definitely the last corner.
That's got to be so frustrating. You get in there, I got this guy, and all of a sudden you got to put more wheel, and it just keeps going straight.
Yeah, I'm right on his gearbox. I'm like, okay, and I try lining him up, and then I get a little hint of understeer, and I have to delay the throttle, and it's just like,
frustrating. So, indeed, folks, a stoppage of play here as they draw a car of number 44, Alessandro Tullio, with some significant damage. Different shot here on our YouTube coverage. That is going to be left front damage, and I thought it was right rear, but it looks okay here. But just the left front damage potentially here. You wonder how that accident potentially happened. But Tullio, as we said, that's a big hit. We've already discussed a DNF, how that hurts. Now, granted, he's got a race win already, so 30-plus points already on the weekend. But, Jack, listen, again, your 2 second-place finishes, you'll take them any day than a first and a last.
Yes, 100%. 2 second-place finishes. Momentum to build on, just points and setting yourself up for the championship. You don't need to win every race.
So I'm just going to go down. We're going to go green this next time by, but Tullio gets, obviously, a race win. Then he has a DNF. Max Garcia's been good. A couple issues for Elliot Cox. He's going to be toughened down the order. Costello down the order. Jacob Douglas, as we know, had a DNF yesterday. A little further back, Sebastian Manson. Some of these guys a little bit further back, if they bring home clean runs, you're still going to be somewhere up near the top 10 of the points, simply because even if you finish outside the top 10, like a guy like Tanner DeFabus, if he gets a couple of top 10s, he could find himself 5th or 6th in points only because he did not get the DNF.
100%. And I think a driver who's going to come out second in the championship is Matt Clark. If he's able to get a second and a fourth today, I think he'll be looking pretty good in the championship.
Exactly. P4 for Matt Clark yesterday, currently running in the second spot. Same goes for Max Taylor. Started 16th yesterday, was able to work his way up. I think 6th for Taylor yesterday. He's able to come back and now currently run P3. It'll be a solid start for the USF Juniors champion from last year. But again, the driver in the hot seat right now would be Max Garcia if he's able to come away with a victory. But we talk all about what it's like to defend on a restart here. There is that pace car up on the throttle to get back to pit lane. We are getting ready to go racing again here, folks. What are we on here now? I think we're working lap 19. I think we're going to have 5 laps to go when we get back around. We'll put lap 20 in the books when they come across the line. So this restart will give us a handful of laps to go. And Jack talked about the fact you don't get too much aero wash on the start. Slow enough coming out of 14. Does Matt Clark have anything? There's a big defense to the inside there for Taylor, trying to hold back Jacob Douglas, who's now up into 4th. They'll go side by side through that corner and around. Douglas trying to go. Oh, they're side by side again through turn number 2. Hold your breath. They do get through. Wow. Maybe some issues a little bit further back, potentially watching to see whether the Lions come through. Indeed they are. So everybody go. Oh, there's a driver off. Another one of the turn 3 cars has overshot, locked it up going in to turn number 4. And I think he might have just locked it up, went straight into the runoff. But that is one of the other turn 3 cars. They have not had a good day here. They are toppling down one by one for turn 3. There's the first full course yellow again. Wow, the drivers in USF Pro 2000 have not shown the patience they needed here on a street circuit. And everybody else behind is going to pick up another spot. As one of the drivers a little bit further back had the trouble there. Trying to think who else is still here. I don't know that it was Becklin up front. It might have been further back. It could have been Cooper Becklin. We'll see as they come through. Do we see a turn 3 car right here? No. I'm going to say Cooper Becklin. Hopefully we can get a chance potentially to have a look at the replay. But yeah, that I think may have been Cooper Becklin because he was running in the 5th spot. So being told car number 21, that Logan Adams potentially as well. So here's the car. Here's one car here. So car 2, that's Cooper Becklin.
He has toppled down on the timesheet, so Cooper Becklin definitely involved, and Logan Adams has fallen as well.
A separate incident. You're trying to find out here. I've got race control. Give me some lineups here. It sounds like car 2 in turn 4 and car 21 in turn 2. I talked about the fact that it looked a little sketchy back there. Everybody but one getting through that corner, and that was Logan Adams, who was fighting for a position inside the top 10 at that point. He's going to fall down to, I believe, 16th, Becklin 15th. So cleanup to be done here. Jack, listen, I do what I can to try to get you guys to be patient. So what do I have to say to you guys to be patient? My goodness.
I think it's just the pressure. Indy cars here, everybody wants to put on a show and impress them, but it's just you got to think long term, and you just got to set yourself up. You can't be too impatient because, especially around here, you're going to pay the price.
We had a quick look at that. We jumped to the turn 4 very briefly when we saw Cooper Becklin get on the brakes, and he was obviously hard on the brakes to the inside, potentially trying to make a move, locked it up, and the car rotated away from the corner. Actually, a counterclockwise rotation. At that point, when you're pointed away, you're along for the ride, and as we saw, straight off into the tires in the runoff area. Not lucky enough to potentially get it wound up in time. Logan Adams, I think, part of that scrum that we saw coming out of turn number 1 to 2, that was pretty aggressive. And I wondered if something happened as we saw the shot coming out of turn number 3. I thought, hey, we're clean coming through. This is going to be good. It was not for Logan Adams. He's the driver who came out the bottom end of that one. Here's the thing. We're running down some laps here right now. This could be lap 22, I think, going down here. Yeah, lap 22 with Garcia leading. Do we get a green-white checker? Do we get a one-lap dash at the end? That's a possibility. All depends on whether or not the AMR IndyCar safety team can get things cleaned up. It's not going to be much to take care of Becklin, as we know. That station in turn 4 is where AMR IndyCar is actually positioned with their truck, so they'll be able to get him handled. I think it's more whether or not they can get the Logan Adams incident cleaned up and get that car up on the hook and get him out of the way. That said, Max Garcia now your leader. Matt Clark now up into second. How about Jacob Douglas into third? That recovery run I talked about, that's it for Jacob Douglas. A DNF yesterday. He stayed out of trouble, was able to get the job done on Taylor. Douglas now up into third. Taylor fourth. Tangevelu finds himself up into P5. Denmark now into sixth. DeFabus seventh. Frankie Mossman in eighth. So the Jay Howard drivers in seventh and eighth now. Brienza up into ninth. And Sebastian Manson, who, number one, had the issue with Douglas yesterday, then drove off the racetrack here, I believe, in the runoff of 4 early in the run. He stayed out of trouble, finds himself back into 10th. This is one of these times, Jack, when you come home and someone goes, well, how'd you finish? 7th. I finished 7th. In the USF 2000 race, it was, I finished 7th. I started 7th, finished 7th. And this one here, you could have started last as long as you don't get in trouble. Sometimes staying out of trouble pays off.
Yeah, just sitting back and being patient and let everybody else make the mistakes around you will pay off. That's just sometimes how it happens, especially on street circuits.
No doubt about that. Street circuits, as we know, always issues. So some insight from race control. We saw the battle between Jacob Douglas and Max Taylor side by side coming through turn number 1. Race control bit telling us that a blocking penalty, in-race blocking penalty for Max Taylor. He had to give that spot up. So that allowed Jacob Douglas to go up into third. We saw that. You can see them coming down into turn number 1 as we come back to green flag racing. Way to the inside. Douglas had made the move. Taylor came across in front of him. You can't move in reaction to another driver. And here we go. Clark down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to hold that spot to the bottom. He'll come out just a little bit. This could be an over-under coming then from Jacob Douglas. Not quite enough. We're going to get 2 more laps of racing here now as they work their way out of turn number 2 through the very quick pink turn 3. Back into turn number 4. This is where we saw the issues before. Number of drivers way down to the bottom of the racetrack trying to defend those spots. Little lockup further back there as well. Can they get through cleanly? Manson's going to get another spot. How aggressive is it further back? How about 2 wide through 5, 6, and 7? Can that even work? I don't know. Here they come through. They're still 2 wide into turn number 8. Everybody looking for more on the final circuit, and I'll reiterate what I said yesterday in the final lap. Guys, bring it home. Whatever you do, don't put it in the wall here when you're looking at a pretty good finish in terms of all the DNFs that we've had. I want to say the driver on the move right now, maybe Manson. I think he was able to get by a couple of drivers, at least Tanner DeFabus. So Manson maybe gets a couple more laps here for positions for TJ Speed in the final circuits. White flag will fly this time by. Big gap out front right now for Garcia. Cox runs in second. Douglas has got Taylor with him, but nobody close enough. Further back, you can see the big move to the bottom. You're allowed to make that move to the bottom, but you kind of have to hold that spot. You're allowed to come back a little bit. You can see the big outside move here. And again, that's one of those Jay Howard cars battling it out with a D-Force machine. I'm thinking Garcia Arce and Mossman there for the final spot inside the top 10. No, they're both 9th and 10th, so that's that shot there. I believe Mossman trying to get by Garcia Arce. So, indeed, final lap here for USF Pro 2000. This will cap off the USF Pro Championships run here at this year's Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Alessandro Di Tullio, the race 1 winner, but now Max Garcia looking to come back to a track he won at last year to eventually run away with a championship in USF 2000. He was second yesterday, going to try to pair it with a victory today, and that would give him the point lead heading to Knoll. Look how big of a gap it is. Matt Clark right there. Douglas still holding off Taylor. Through the chicane for Garcia to the hairpin, and he is out with a big gap. And there you go, folks. Race number 2 here at St. Petersburg. Max Garcia from Pabst Racing grabs his first win of the 2025 season, his first USF Pro 2000 victory as well. The Floridian wins in the home state. Garcia with the victory. Clark finishing in second. Jacob Douglas in third. Max Taylor fourth. Owen Tangevelu for VRD Racing in fifth. So it's Pabst exclusive, Pabst VRD. The VRD drivers back into the top 5 as the cool-down lap underway. Big one for that car there. The scholarship colors from last year's USF 2000 champion. Took the scholarship out of USF 2000 to move up to pro. And Garcia already repaying the team with a victory here. Couple of, in fact, a really good weekend, or good day at least, for Pabst Racing. First and third in terms of the team championship points. Same goes for, as I said, Max Taylor and Owen Tangivello, the two VRD drivers, finishing fourth and fifth. There's Jace Denmark. What a fantastic drive for Jace to work his way up here. He started all the way back in 11th. He ends up in 6th. Tanner DeFabus, P7, couple top 10s for that rookie. Sebastian Manson, who was at the tail of the field at one point, works his way back up to 8th with all that attrition. George Garcia Arce and Frankie Mossman, the fight at the very end of that one. Jack Jeffers, what do you think? Some pretty aggressive racing. I think I'll say this right now. You can respond. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of pressure on these drivers, and they're pushing as hard as they can right out of the gate.
Yeah, they're pushing hard, making impressions, trying to start off the season right. Some of them making mistakes that they'll definitely pay the price later. But overall, yeah, good aggressive racing and some clean racing.
Early morning for you after a great couple of days on Friday and Saturday. How overall are you feeling about a couple of second-place finishes?
Feel good, always, we work hard over that offseason. We always want that win, but we'll take 2 second places. We're looking good in the championship, and again, a lot of races ahead.
You were pretty quick at spring training at NOLA, too.
I was pretty quick. We were pretty quick. We have a good car there. We're a good team there.
Yeah, we'll be there in 6 weeks' time, NOLA Motorsports Park. That caps things up. Todd Lewis, thank you so much, man. I always love working with Todd. He and I will be together again at Toronto for this one. We'll pass it over to him momentarily. Jack and I will head down to Victory Lane, but we'll take the opportunity to see the very first win in USF Pro 2000 for this young driver, Max Garcia. I've been fortunate to be calling his races since I think he was about 7 or 8 in the mini Swift categories, and I've had a chance to watch him throughout the ranks, and I'll tell you, there it is, the first big win for Max Garcia. Time to head to Victory Lane.
Thank you, Rob Howden. Thank you, Jack Jeffers. A great way to wrap up the USF Pro Championships here on the streets of St. Petersburg. And things never really did settle down in the USF Pro 2000 Championship. It was action-packed right from the drop of the green flag about 40 minutes ago, straight up at 8 o'clock. And it was action-packed, a couple of caution periods, a couple of incidents. Drivers that were patient and able to get through unscathed were certainly beneficiaries of others' mistakes. Good weekend for Max Garcia, who comes away with a victory today and is a runner-up finish yesterday. Good weekend for Matt Clark, who finishes 4th yesterday and also finishes 2nd today. Jacob Douglas as well. Nice move to get around Max Taylor as well. Taylor, one of those also who was penalized for a blocking move. But exciting action, plenty of it in the USF 2000 series. We'll have podium ceremonies in just a couple of minutes. Thank you for joining us here early on the streets of St. Petersburg. We are action-packed right through the day today. Coming up next, it'll be Indy next by Firestone. That will have their first morning warm-up session, and they will hit the track for their race weekend a little bit later on this morning. The NTT IndyCar Series will also be on track for a morning warm-up in anticipation of their 100-lap race going green at just about 12:30 this afternoon. It'll be Scott McLaughlin who will lead the field of 27 to the green flag here on the streets of St. Petersburg, looking for another victory here in St. Petersburg. And then it'll be sports car action to conclude the day here on the streets of St. Petersburg with the MX5 Cup Series coming back once again. Please make sure that you are following along on the social channels at GP St. Pete on X, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. Make sure that you're using the hashtag FirestoneGP to post your weekend selfies on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and X. That's where you'll get the latest up-to-date information as well. You can download the digital event program, program.gpstpete.com, or simply scan the QR code that is on any of the festival maps that are around us here. If you have a ticket for a pit or paddock pass and you aren't sure where to redeem them, it's the redemption table outside the Mahaffey Theater to exchange your tickets. There may be some ticket upgrades available as well. There are limited quantities, so act fast if you want to upgrade your general admission ticket to a grandstand ticket as well. So all that and much more happening here on the grounds in St. Petersburg today. Don't forget, Champions Club members, the grid walk will begin at 11:15 this morning. So please meet the staff at the Albert Whitted Park. That is for the Champions Club members. The grid walk at 11:15. Rookie racers, you can pick up your membership kit from the pass redemption table now, and make sure you have your ticket with you as well. That is for our rookie racers and our rookie racer program. A lot of great areas to be watching the action with GA tickets here on the grounds, whether it's in the Festival Plaza, that's the courtyard in between the Mahaffey Theater and the Dali Museum. Great place to watch. Lots of food, lots of beverage options in that area. Great view of the run down into turn 10, that hard left-hander, the 90-degree turn in turn 10. The Horse Soldier Bourbon Waterside Club also is back with another terrific area to watch, turns 11 and 12. And again, lots of food and beverage options at each of those areas as well. You can make your way through to Pioneer Park and get some shade and watch the drivers work through the back part of the course. That would be turns 7, 8, and 9. That's also happening. And the Ultra Pit Party, a longstanding GA fan favorite, gathering point to watch the races. The watch pit in as the race cars, new sets of tires and fuel from the trackside beer garden. The Ultra Party Pit is an unobstructed viewing area that is open for GA tickets as well. As mentioned, lots to come here today on the streets of St. Petersburg. Indy Next will be up with their session this morning. The NTT IndyCar Series morning warm-up coming up shortly. And then Indy Next will race for 45 laps here on the streets of St. Petersburg. And we'll get set for the MX5 Cup Series to wrap up our Sunday here in St. Pete. We'll join Rob Howden momentarily for podium ceremonies for the USF 2000 Series.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting set to go down here in Victory Lane to cap off this year's event for the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tire here in St. Petersburg. A wild one there for USF Pro 2000. Of course, all part of the Anderson Interior Contracting Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. And we have 3 deserving drivers ready to come up here to get a little bit of hardware. Let's start with the driver. Great recovery after a DNF yesterday. All the way from New Zealand, folks. He comes home with 3rd place today for Pabst Racing. Jacob Douglas finishing P3. Big run there for P3 for Jacob. Frank Skrek's going to come and join us here, Director of Marketing for Anderson Interior Contracting. We have a number of our guests here having a fantastic weekend. They'll help us pass out some awards here. Big run here for this driver here as well. I believe he'll come out of the weekend 2nd place in points for Exclusive Autosport. P2 goes to Matt Clark. Tony Swilley's got that 2nd place trophy. Great run for Mac there, coming home P2. 3rd on the yesterday, but a penalty put him back to 4th. So his first podium here of 2025 for Matt Clark, the Canadian, coming home 2nd. With a driver who will, with all the attrition, all these drivers having trouble on track, come home and leave here in St. Petersburg with the point lead heading to NOLA. 2nd yesterday, 1st today, his first win, folks, in USF Pro 2000. He won the championship last year, and he's from Florida, folks. Put your hands together for Max Garcia! We've done this many times, my friend. Last year, of course, a home state victory. What's it feel like to win here?
Awesome. You know, the atmosphere is great, the team's great, the car is great, and I kind of had to mess it up to not win that.
Obviously, a huge run last year. All the wins, all those races you were able to finish and others weren't. What does it mean to come out here and get that first victory, right? You're trying to get to IndyCar. You know you're only a couple steps away. The first victory is always a key one.
Yeah, it was big. We're just going to keep pushing from here. Hopefully 16 more wins from now, but we'll see.
Who do you want to thank?
All of Paps, you know, they're great. My family, all the supporters, and Advanced Auto Parts for making this happen.
Congratulations, man. Get on top. Well done there. Max Garcia. Let's bring that trophy in. Barbara Swilley's got the P1. She'll bring that in to Garcia. He has, as I said, a lot of trophies. A fantastic run last year to win the USF 2000 championship. And again, folks, I talked about IndyCar because we have the people here that have done it. Kyle Kirkwood's going to roll out there today. He won in USF 2000. He won in USF Pro 2000. He won the championship at Indy Next to go all the way. These drivers here are just 2 steps away from IndyCar, and that's the beauty of this program. We talk about the fact that you look at the USF Pro 2000 champions over the last number of years. Last 7 years, 5 have gone to IndyCar. Kirkwood, VK, Stingray Robb, Rasmussen, Foster. The other 2 champions as well are in Indy Next. And they're going to see race wins in Indy Next and maybe even a championship in Lockheed Hughes and Miles Rowe. This USF Pro 2000 program develops winners. It develops drivers for IndyCar. There's no doubt about that. Great way to cap off the action. Great way to start things off here for what will be a fantastic Sunday of competition. Indy Next drivers will be out here, of course, practice for IndyCar. Cannot wait for the IndyCar race to start off the new season. But again, you look at this category here, USF Pro 2000, the top level of our series. And the drivers who have come out of here, Pato O'Ward was a driver in a championship fight as well here. Kirkwood, I'd mentioned. Go further back to drivers like Spencer Piggott, Gabby Chavez. This level of competition also developed drivers like James Hinchcliffe, Graham Rahal, Marco Andretti, all running in this level of competition. This USF Pro 2000 category, which has had so many names from the years back, Star Mazda, Pro Mazda, Indy Pro 2000, now the USF Pro 2000 category. We'll bring up our guests here from Anderson Interior Contracting. They've had a fantastic weekend here as part of our hospitality program. Great to have them as presenting sponsors for USF Pro 2000 here this weekend as well. We are about ready to wrap things up. What a great way to start our season for sure. Championship contenders making themselves known out of the gate. 6 weeks from now, we'll be back on the racetrack at NOLA Motorsports Park for a big weekend there before the month of May. So this is how we wrap things up, folks. As we know, champagne ready to fly for the drivers here at USF Pro 2000. Max Garcia with his first win. Clark his first podium. Same goes for Douglas here. Boys, grab that champagne. Grip it and rip it. Let's have some fun to celebrate race number 2 of USF Pro 2000. There you have it, folks. We are underway for the 2025 season. NOLA in 6 weeks' time. Make sure to join us here on the USF Pro Championships YouTube channel. If you have not downloaded the app, get that done now so you can follow all the action, live timing, live coverage as well. And we are done here from St. Petersburg. On behalf of Anderson Promotions, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.
Celebrate!